Hey there folks, this is Lucifer Legged Warden coming back at you with another video. This is a video that I've been meaning to get to for quite some time. I'm going to be making this into a bit of a ongoing project and whatnot. Now, as many of you may know, a while back I did a quick on-the-spot review of the official Cult of Cthulhu. It was a really positive review. I got a really good vibe from them, really awesome people. And their founder, their high priest, Winter, sent me a copy of the Bible of Cthulhu. And I've been meaning to get around to reading it and whatnot. And recently I've actually finally started picking it up and getting around to reading it. And I've managed to make my way through the first segment of the book. And this first segment is called, because the book is actually broken down into different segments. I got my way through the tome of Azathoth. And, of course, the prologues, prefaces, and whatnot. Now, in a few missives with Winter, he pointed out a little something to me, and I'm starting to notice it in the book itself. He said that the book's design was actually based on the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey, and it was not an accident. It was actually on purpose, and I started noticing it even in the interior of the book. So this is, I have by no means read the entire book yet. I am currently working my way through it. I am now in the tome of Yog-Sothoth. Of course, these are Cthulhian, Lovecraftian names, so it gets a little touchy on how you want to pronounce them. But I've read my way through the tome of Yog-Sothoth, or yeah, the first segment of the book. Let's put it that way. And just like the I just heard a really weird noise from behind the computer, and I don't know what that was. Anyways, so one of the first things that struck me with this book is how it is set up, and just like with the Satanic Bible, you get different sections. And the first section is a little bit of a, sort of like the Book of Satan in the Satanic Bible, where we get these different segments that is a statement of how things are in an overall spectrum. Sort of like Cthulhu or one of the great old ones speaking to you directly and handing down their literature. In this sense, I got the feeling that it was a great bit of, a lot like the Book of Satan or our Diabolicon, written by Michael Aquino, where it was just a great tract of rhetoric. I really appreciated it. I really enjoyed reading my way through it. And what followed it, which is a little bit different from the Book of Satan, it gave a delineation of various characters in the Cthulhian hierarchy of gods, the old ones. And this included the Darkness, Yog-Sothoth, Azathoth, Cthulhu, and even H.P. Lovecraft himself. Now, things that I'm not going to give any criticisms on the book right now. I'm not going to delineate or I don't know what to say. I'm not going to give any harsh criticisms. I noticed one little misuse of a word here or there. And I'm going to state this: if it's just one little thing out of place and said used in a wrong context, who cares? I know some people are going to be super critical about books like that. I'm not going to be one. One thing I will state that this book has that I love so far, that so far the Satanic Bible definitely could have benefited from, but given the time frame and the era, that it didn't, is it has some really wonderful artwork in it. And of course, that was the section on H.P. Lovecraft. Now, one thing I do know that is going on in this book, because I kind of read ahead a few times before and I came across it, is this is a slip cipher font that is intended to be translated. And there's actually a translation method in here. It's supposed to be the Cthulhian language, and it's just like how in Wicca or paganism you have Ogham or Theban writing systems, or even the Norse runic writing systems. This is said to be its own individual language. However, it's attributed directly to English language counterparts. Excuse me one second. Sorry about that. So, the writing system in it is supposed to be the Cthulhian language, and it's essentially just exchanging English letters for a different character. There's nothing wrong with this. It adds an excellent flair to the book, and it gets people involved in trying to figure out what is said. So if I wanted to sit down and figure out what all that writing was around, here's another great bit of artwork in here that people can see. So if I wanted to sit down and get to figuring out what was being said around Lovecraft here, and even translating this a little bit here, there is a translation key in here that brings it directly to English, or to English lettering. Personally, I would have made a more advanced version of that, and switched it out for numbers, flipped it around, inverted things, and attributed different differentiating sounds, so that when you wrote it down, it literally is the Cthulhian language based off of what few phrases Lovecraft made famous, and other authors made famous, of course. This book, from what people can see, I'm not very far in it. But what I have read, it is amazing. It is a very interesting tract of knowledge, and I'm loving some of the way Winter expresses his ideas, his concepts, and how he puts it very point blank and very blunt, and he uses terminologies. It's like in the section I'm reading right now, he's talking about quantum physics. It's still a very early section, but he uses the concept of Schrodinger's cat to help describe on how certain members of the Cthulhu cult could literally see Cthulhu as being a very real entity, and that Lovecraft is nothing more than a prophet who got communications from Cthulhu through dreams. This actually is this to me is just, you don't even need to apply Schrodinger's cat. It just makes sense to me. It also goes into explaining how it could be multiverse theory, and I'm using multiverse theory because there's actual terminology in here that not a lot of people would be very familiar with. But people in our times are very familiar with the DC and Marvel multiverses, and so they're they're very familiar with the whole theory of multiverse. That's a very good way of explaining things. That's just overall really great. To be quite honest, if Winter wanted to sit down and change some of the wording in this to satanic terminology, change the artwork to satanic imagery, this could literally be a new satanic Bible. One that would, so as far as I've read so far, could easily replace Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. Now, I don't say that lightly. Don't get me wrong. It's just a cold hard fact. Anton LaVey wrote a book that has been profound for over 60 years. But even in that book, he says that when this no longer works, throw it away for something better, something new that follows along, that explains things better. And I will always cherish Anton LaVey's work, but what I'm going to state is this is actually a really good book so far. I'm really interested in it, and this is just going to be the first part of an ongoing commentary series on it. Like I said, so far from what I've read in the book, it is really, really good. And I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody else. But the first part that I managed to really enjoy and get through is the Viridian Verses, which is this book's version of the Book of Satan in the Satanic Bible. And just going through somehow how he has this set up. It's absolutely amazing. It's stunning. Winter, you really got to tell me who your publisher is, because I get the feeling that this is still a self-published book, but it's not through Lulu, I don't think, because it's just really amazing. Lulu would have a complete conniption fit if you did this with their books, at least from my experience. And that's what I got for people today. Again, just beautiful, beautiful artwork. All hand-drawn, I'm assuming by Winter and other related artists who attributed to this book. I know he actually attributes the art is by Juan Carlos Porcel. Graven images, as he calls them. Just amazing artwork and whatnot. So be expecting more installments where I talk further into the different segments of the book. Of course, I'm not going to give anything away on the book. I'm not going to be telling people exactly what's in here, because I'm just like the members of the Cult of Cthulhu want you to go out, get this book, support the Cult of Cthulhu, and read it and gain the knowledge for yourself. My personal takeaway so far from the book is that, aside from terminology and phrasing, such as Yog-Sothoth and the Cthulhu and all the Lovecraftian terminology, is that I can easily swap that around and apply it to Satanism. And one thing I am going to state here that I've always been very impressed about with the Cult of Cthulhu under Winter's control is how he has brought together both the theistic and the atheistic elements and said, none of it matters, it's both true. And the usage of Schrodinger's cat and the multiverse theory and whatnot just pulls that together in such a great way that there's really no arguing against it. And it's something that Satanism would do well to learn from, to study, and to gain that insight, and to take that and move onward with it. So, thank you, Winter. I am enjoying the book so far, and be expecting more videos from it. If you guys have not heard about the Cult of Cthulhu, go check them out. I will throw a link to their website in the comments down below. I will also throw a link to Winter's YouTube channel, where you can go check him out. Go buy their book. This thing's pretty cool. I'm loving it. Thank you, Winter. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Hit me up in the comment section down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now, it's getting kind of late. I'm off to bed. This is Lucifer Legaborn. I'm out of here.